If I were to ask you, what is 5 plus 1, most likely you wouldn't even have to think about it. You would instantly know that 5 plus 1 is 6. In this particular equation, 5 plus 1, the plus sign is what's called an operation. And the 5 and the 1 are what you would call terms. What we're going to focus on in this video are the operations, specifically the order of operations. Before I talk to you about the order of operations, I think it would be wise to talk about what is an operation to begin with. And so let's look at this picture of a math book with a glossary. As a real straightforward definition for operations, or what an operation is. It's only 4 of them. We got multiplication, addition, subtraction, and division. You got multiplication, addition, subtraction, and division. These are the 4 operations. So when people in science and math speak of the order of operations, this is what they're referring to. Let's go back up to our 5 plus 6 example. Again, as stated before, 5 and 1 are our terms, and the addition in this equation is our operation. Operations give instructions. They tell you what to do. For example, if I was to just have a plus sign and I would just say add, the next thing you would ask me, that's some instructions. So again, that is consistent with what we said. Operations give instructions. The instructions here are to add. But then we could ask a question, like most people will. They're going to ask you, well, what are we adding? Add what? Add what? And this is where, terms become relevant. We need something to add, and that's what terms are. We discussed this in the Anatomy of Equations video. I highly recommend y'all go and watch that. So let's put our 5 and our 1 back right here. These are our terms. And so now we have something that we can kind of do for real. We can add 5 and 1. But let's say that we had something like this. Let's say we had another equation. Let's say we had an equation 5 plus 1 times 7. So we have 2 operations. We have 2 instructions right here. Because again, as we just saw with the previous example, operations give instructions. The 4 operations, they give you instructions to add, multiply, subtract, or divide. And then the terms give you the things that you're going to do the operation to, or what you're going to perform the operation with. But for this example that we're looking at now, we have two sets of instructions. We're being told 2 things. We're being told to add, and also multiply. So another good question to ask is, okay, so I get what I'm being asked to do, but which one do I do first? Like, what do you want me to do first? And this is where the order of operations becomes relevant. The order of operations emphasize what we all, I'm not going to assume that we all have even heard of this. So the order of operations states the following. The first thing that you do if you have multiple things going on in an equation is that you do what's in parentheses first. Parentheses. The second thing that you compute is anything with exponents. After you compute the things with exponents, then you do multiplication and division. I'm going to pause with a cause right here. When you get past parentheses and exponents, all you have to do is just read from left. You read the equation from left to right. I'll take some time to emphasize that briefly later, but let's continue. So we do multiplication and then division, and then we do addition, and then finally subtraction. So if we have a bunch of instructions, this is the order in which we're supposed to carry out those instructions.